There are a lot of hot-button issues in environmental science where different people have opposing views. And one way to address those issues is through critical thinking assignments. I have a couple of goals with the critical thinking assignment. One is to give students tools for evaluating things they read from different viewpoints. But also, a critical thinking assignment engages students intellectually, and I think it can lead to really good discussions in class. So it fosters participation. And I've seen that when I give students an assignment where they have to think about something deeply, then when we return as a large class, students are more willing to share what they've thought about. But that can be a challenge in a big class. It can be a challenge to get students to really think about an issue. Critical thinking is often best done by writing, and it's difficult to grade papers and give feedback to such a large audience. So the method I've used is an online critical thinking assignment that engages students with a particular issue, presents them with different viewpoints, and allows them the opportunity to critically evaluate what they've read and to respond. The assignments catalog the responses of the students, so I get, in the end, I can actually present to the students what they thought, and that can foster an in-class discussion. Now, I've tried several different strategies. One strategy is to present two very strong opposing views on an issue. Find a couple of articles on the web, for example, and allow the students to examine those articles and come up with their own opinion. Sometimes the result of that assignment is that students don't know what to believe. If they're presenting with two very strong opposing viewpoints, they either believe what they believe to begin with, or they think that nobody knows anything about anything. So what I found works best is to upfront tell the students to look for some problem in one of the papers, and I will often choose at least one paper which has some obvious flaw. So this last year we picked climate change, and I picked two articles, and I intentionally picked one with flaws. The one that was flawed was a climate skeptic article, and the main flaws had to do with mixing up causation and correlation, one of the things we talk about in class. And that was sort of the hidden treasure in the article. So there was an article that described the science of climate change in a skeptical article. And in this case, the climate skeptics had problems, and I'd let the students know that they should look to see which article had problems. So when we examined the data from the class, not everybody agreed with me that the skeptical article was the bad one. Some students found issues with the article that I thought was reasonable, and that was great because it gave us an opportunity to talk about the article that I thought was pretty good, and some students brought up their concerns, which were completely valid. And so I think that I was able to validate students' opinions on both sides of the issue, even though I had set up the assignment in such a way that I was expecting students to agree with one article and not the other.